the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good morning, welcome to the morning coffee show. Let's talk from in the shell and share good vibes and good times. Good friends and trends that bend the senses. Let's get a bit senseless. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we bring good vibes and good times. Welcome to the morning coffee show with Super Fast Tortoise. Welcome to the morning coffee show, where we have the flow. Good vibes from head to toe. Let the happiness take you in.
Hey!
Hey, look at you. Look at you. Look at you. You're all here. A lot of you are here. Come on. Roll in. Everybody, I see there's a lot of you watching. So say hello in chat. But hey, we got a
hello in chat. I said it.
We got a hillbilly, Tibalt, and kjcowboydan today. Whoop, whoop. How's it going?
Going pretty good. Whoop.
Yeah.
Whoop, thing. Hope you got your coffee. Drink your coffee. Get some good libation. A little caffeine, a caffeination. That's right. That's right. Look at that. Ooh.
Peppermint coffee. You can't go wrong.
Peppermint.
Yep.
Oh, man. What is it? Christmas time over there, Hillbilly?
It's always Christmas when there's food around.
It's the holiday season with food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we invite you to our house, Hillbilly, for the holiday seasons and whatnot. But we actually like having food on our table.
Well, I'll come for leftovers. Eat the leftovers.
There you go.
I'm kidding. Oh man. So today is Monday, Cinco de Mayo, right? The 5th of May.
Yep. Well, it would take just one sitting for me to, eat all your leftovers up.
Yeah, just one sitting.
Yeah.
It is Cinco de Mayo, and I'm celebrating today, but I celebrated the true Independence Day. I celebrated the independence from the Empire Day. It was May 4th yesterday. And as a rebel spy myself, I spent the entire day yesterday celebrating independence from the Empire. The Battle of Yavin took many lives, and we have to understand that.
I bet yesterday.
Yes, indeed.
I bet yesterday everybody was saying, "May the 4th be with you."
That's right, because yesterday was May 4th.
Yep.
And they were hoping the 4th was with you. Maybe you saw a little Yoda ghost, in the corner, telling you not to do that. Stop eating.
It's a conspiracy theory. Yoda's not dead. Trust me, I know. Also, the Death Star, it's not round. The Death Star is flat.
Oh, yeah.
You never see the backside of the Death Star, right? Every time you fly in on your X-Wing, right? All you see is that little cannon, the circle cannon, the laser cannon. There is no round Death Star. It's a myth.
Wait. The one where they blow up the Death Star in the original film, isn't there a whole sequence where they show an X-Wing flying around the ship to get to the exhaust port place to destroy the ship, and it was a round curvature?
Imperial propaganda.
No, I mean, come on. That Star Wars was ahead of its time back then. And I think that proved that the Death Star wasn't a large coin in space. If the Death Star was a large coin, it'd be heads and tails about the whole situation.
Now we got to send you back to Coruscant to finish your education. Trust me. No, have you had a chance to watch the season 2 of Andor?
No.
All right, it's pretty good. It's not really your typical season. It's like 2 separate storylines going on, unlike the first season of Andor. Without giving it away, it's all right. It's not the same. It has the same writing staff, and it's pretty good. But you have to watch it if you haven't had a chance to watch it. There's 2 separate stories. One like 5 years before the Battle of Yavin, and the other storyline that they end the season off with, or at least that's been aired so far, is 3 years before the Battle of Yavin.
Oh, well,
Okay.
So,
yeah, but you know what though? You never see anybody in the Star Wars films celebrate the days they stopped the impression. They don't have like we destroyed Death Star Day.
Well, the end of the special editions did not include celebrations with the Ewoks.
Ewoks should not live outdoors. They're indoor pets. All right. Let's see. Let's say hello to people in chat really quick. We got Lone Wolf. Hello. How you doing, Lone Wolf? Good day for you. Chilling out. Feeling the vibes. That's right. Feel the vibes.
Lone Wolf was hanging out with me last night while I was playing some Minecraft.
You were playing Minecraft?
Yeah, and we were talking about some of the music that we make on Suno. So me and Lone Wolf took a break from Minecraft for about a half an hour and made a couple of songs.
Oh,
cool.
Nice. A couple little ditties for the song world. Gonna bust up the new show coming out with some epic songs. Gonna become famous.
Or infamous.
Oh, yeah. And we got a lot of improvements on Hillbilly and I's new show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hillbilly. Right. And don't worry, KJ's gonna pay Hillbillies for his time. He's giving him an all-you-can-eat buffet ticket. There you go.
yep. Sure is. And I'm gonna make them really pay for that.
All right, I'm kidding. No, look, we got Cane Shaker. I knew there was trouble in the Force. Thinking of the Star Wars galaxy, you know, most Jedis wield lightsabers, but he wields a cane.
It's true. It's true. I've seen it. Cane Shaker, the color of his lightsaber is purely unique. He's the only one that has a diamond colored lightsaber.
A diamond color.
Yeah, it's too expensive to be able to see.
I'm imagining a diamond color, and I notice how diamonds reflect different colors when you look into a diamond. And what I imagine is like a prison colored lightsaber where it's white, but it reflects like all the different colors.
Rainbow side, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
his lightsaber, it's camouflaged to look like a cane. You just never know when he's gonna pick that lightsaber up and whack you with it.
That's right. Straighten you up.
Yep.
And Cane Shaker's like, Viva la Mexico. Yeah. And we got Lulu and chat.
Lulu. Hey.
Hello, Lulu. How's it
Lulu
going?
Sky.
Yeah.
Lulu Sky is actually short for and nobody wanted to realize this, but Lulu Sky is short for Lulu Skywalker. Fact. For those people who recognize Lulu from the cut scenes of the special edition movies, Lulu had like a huge role.
Well, but there's people going like hunting the Jedi. Maybe Lulu Sky was trying to hide from the Sith and the Republic.
I don't know why you'd hide from the Sith. They're very nice fellas.
Oh, crazy. Oh, look, we got a sticky Captain Waffles.
Mon Capitan.
I
So
know.
today's-
I was wondering why it was so sticky around here.
It's a little bit syrupy. Just like his jokes. I'm kidding. Captain Waffle says today is Revenge of the 5th. After yesterday was May the 4th be with you.
So here's a big question. Since yesterday was May the 4th and today's Cinco de Mayo, I'm wondering, would you be Sith or would you be Jedi?
Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. Would he be a Sith like KJ, or would he be a Jedi like Hillbilly?
I would be one of the gray. I would be one of the gray Jedi.
Hey, Jedi. I thought you
There's
were
a whole
like
there's a
Gandalf.
whole class that walks the middle between the two.
All right. They really haven't touched on that in the story.
No,
you
you can find the stuff online though. There's a little bit of information. I don't know if it's canon or not, but from the other from some of the expanded universe.
Well, with Disney and with their hands on everything, they might be canon pretty soon.
Maybe.
I'll be right back. I have a telephone call coming in. I have to answer.
All right. Go for it. Go for it. But we got a Metamonk. Metamonk. New logo, too. Nice. It looks nice. I like it. Metamonk, how are you doing? You opening portals. Checking us out from the 5th dimension. Because today is the 5th. You get it? You get it? Tortoise making bad jokes. All right.
Yeah.
But hey. Whoa. All right. This is K-Shaker. What's this? So I was there too, even though KJ doesn't want to let people know I was there. That's right. We're there. It's that color because I'm Quixotic Jedi. Nice. We got Lone Wolf saying, yeah, it was fun. A fun night, and Kane Shaker was there too, especially when we were talking about Journey being classic rock. Journey. You know what's sad? Linkin Park is considered classic rock. All right. Linkin Park was my jam back in high school, in my young, youthful 20s. Oh, my Lord. Robert Stable. Whoop. Good morning, all. Good morning. Good morning. And Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear. That's right. Man Among says it's the 5th. That's right. Okay. And we got a TCG dude.
TCG. What's
That's
up?
actually making it too easy to push his buttons.
For sure.
I mean, is it really hard when he literally wears a jacket full of buttons?
I'm just inviting trouble.
Inviting trouble. All right. So we have a hefty topic today. I don't know if you paid attention to it. It's very vast, kind of vague, but there's a lot going on. I've been watching videos on not just Magic, to be honest with you. It's not just Magic, but Magic's involved in some of it. Is reseller, collectors, and buyer mentality, and it's been interesting. Now, the biggest topic that's been affected by this topic I'm talking about is video games, right? So, like looking up and researching this topic, video games. People are quitting collecting video games. People are quitting buying video games. Not everybody, just like whatever videos you can find. People will go through this whole spill. And there's people talking about the mentality. And as you watch these videos, you can kind of see how it refracts and reflects off the Magic community. So video games are different in one way, but because there's a large group of people collecting classic vintage video games, right? these classic vintage video games, and I'm talking about, you're probably not looking at Atari because Atari is not going super expensive, but we're talking about like Nintendo, Super Nintendo. You're talking about GameCube, Nintendo 64. You're talking about PlayStation 1. You're talking about PlayStation 2, Xbox 360. There are people who are collecting games, and now I mentioned some of these consoles, and some of these consoles, their games are not as expensive as others, and some consoles are not as nostalgic as others. But like, there are Nintendo games that are going for buku bucks. People are dying to get their hands on these games, and they're pushing the elements. And now, the process of this is what made me think of Magic, and makes me wonder if it will fit that theme. Is like, say we got a seller in the house. Tibalt, you're being focused for a second. You're the main focus. Look at you. You're a handsome dude, very handsome, right? You probably won an award for being very handsome, right?
I doubt that, but okay.
But anyways, but in the video game community, you could get a game like Donkey Kong, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Donkey Kong, with nostalgia behind it, people love the game. There's a whole following behind Donkey Kong, right? Now, Donkey Kong might not be the right game I'm thinking of, but we're going to use it for this example. Like, so Donkey Kong, when it first hit the market and on the secondary market, people were buying it for like $20. Then people were buying it, purchasing it, and someone's like, "Hey, I wonder if it's selling quick for $20. Can I make $30?" And someone's like, "Price is at $30." And someone buys it at $30. Now all the other people see that it's sold for $30. They push their stuff up to $30, and then everybody starts realizing the $30 mark is there. People can buy it for $30. Don't feel bad. And someone's like, well, now everybody's selling for $30 and no one's having an issue. Can I sell for $35? And someone changes their price to $35 and it sells. And everybody sees that this is selling for $35. So they change their prices. Now, that's like an aggressive example. But there are some games that people are buying worth hundreds because of that example. Now, you can't blame the reseller. You can't blame the collector. The only person you can really blame in this situation is the buyer, because they're saying we're willing to pay this price. And there's no real blame at all. And in the Magic community, it's kind of similar, right? We get a card. People love it. They sell out. People are like, how much can we sell this for? Can we push the price up? Buyers like, yes, well, I'll buy it for this price, and so on and so forth. And the price will climb until it finds a steady place, which is crazy. And I feel like I focused on like a single item, but this goes across the board. People buying, selling, it's natural. It happens. It's part of the ecosystem. So there's no negative connotation being put here. That's what I'm saying. But like there's people in the video game industry who are collectors who finally hit a point where they're like, I bought every game for the system. I'm not going to play all these games, so I'm going to start decluttering my system, my collection, and just going down to the games I know I will play, which I find, a little late in the game for them, because they could save themselves lots of money in the background. But, they have some good games, so they'll probably sell for a pretty penny. But the biggest thing between three different people here is that they even said they spent way too much money on some games that they wish they didn't, because they bought them for a high price, and that confirmed to the market that price was okay for that game. Because nostalgia is a drug that'll bite you in the butt, and that's what people do.
For sure.
And I feel like that's how it is in Magic, right? Magic, especially when you get vintage stuff. You go more vintage. You get some fancy dual lands, right? You get some fancy reserve list cards that people like. And I'm not talking about just janky reserve list cards, because you look at the reserve list, there's a lot of jank on that list.
For sure.
But for those cards that are not jank, for example, ones that people know very well is the Moxen, the Power 9, the Black Lotus, right? And I've looked at the schematics, and I looked at the schematics the other day, and they're not selling every day like hotcakes, but they're sitting at pretty fancy prices, right? And people are okay with that. It sets a standard, sets a bar. People are like, this is like top tier collecting, right? But when it comes to like older stuff, people are willing to pay a premium price for it, which is cool that people are willing to pay a premium price for this product, because if Magic the Gathering has like a bar to be set to say, hey, here's like extremely collectible stuff, here's what the price is, there's a market for higher end stuff. Because one thing I do see, non-Moxen, non-Black Lotus, non-Power 9, is people are buying vintage product, Magic product, and this vintage Magic product is selling left and right. In fact, there's a couple people we see in our own community where people are buying vintage Magic product and devaluing the value of the product by opening it.
Well, you've definitely got three different places, like you said there. There's the reseller, the collector, and the buyer. But also you have the players and those people that just want to use the cards. So I guess your opinion is definitely going to be held based on where you are in that. I almost feel like it's a spectrum where you maybe even start out as one thing and eventually you turn to something else a little bit later on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Trying to keep up with chat. Men Amongst his Office Space reference. They're not buttons, they're pieces of flair. That's right. Sorry, Pong, Breakout. People listen off games. So I've collected a lot of that ever since I was a kid, but more for the memory reasons, not for the value they eventually might have. Well, see, Lone Wolf, that's kind of how it starts. You start off being like, oh, I remember this game. I love this game. Look, I own 2 copies of Turok, and I haven't played them all the way through. I should probably play them through. I got a version on PlayStation 4, I believe. Yeah, I got the hard disk version on PlayStation 4, and I got a version on Nintendo Switch. So like that's how it starts. That's how it catches you. I want a 64 copy. That's the problem. I want the original 64 copy. Kenny Checker says Donkey Kong is a classic game that brought us the character Jumpman. Jumpman. That is a reference to the old school Donkey Kong. Whoop, whoop.
Yep.
Yeah. But like in a world where we collect, we buy, we sell.
We go crazy.
That's right. right. We do go crazy. But see, ever since COVID hit, and COVID changed a lot of things, right? In the collector buyer mentality, the reseller mentality. So COVID hit, shut people down. People got their wallets stuffed with cash from the government, with those stimulus checks, right? And people are like, well, I'm bored. What can I do? I can make money. How do I make money? And the YouTube exploded with resellers showing how they yard sell and everything and reflip stuff and everything. And reselling became a huge thing during COVID, right? Huge thing. And even the market for Magic the Gathering exploded because, that was that spike where people had all this extra money and they're like, I'm going to buy Magic cards. And Wizards of the Coast saw this big blip in the map where they're just spiked up and they're like, oh my God, we're more popular than we thought, right? And they're like, we could probably do something with this. Well, anyways, all together, my point here is people not only learned that they could buy stuff, they learned that they could sell stuff, and they learn they can make a profit off it. They can make a secondary wage off. It might not be as like efficient as a full-time job. For some people it was, but not for everybody. And that lasted for a while. And so people, and I was saying on Facebook, on whatnot, on YouTube and on Twitch, which I don't watch Twitch very much, so I've heard people talk about it. They do on Twitch, but like that people started making these selling pages, right? Where they sell and flip cards. They sell and flip cards. And they sell and flip cards here. They sell and flip cards there. They sell flip cards everywhere, basically, which I find interesting because, like, when I first watching it, I started watching this before I met some of the people I knew. I'm like, wait, you're buying a pack of Magic from a dude, or it could be a woman, but at this time it was a dude for me. And I'm like, he's charging you a little extra for the pack because he had to go out and purchase the pack. Then he's opening the pack. Then he's mailing you the pack. And in some cases, they're charging you shipping. I'm like, at that moment, I'm like this kind of selling exploded, and it's exploded right now. But at this moment, I'm like, why can't I just go to the store, buy my own pack, save some money, and open it up myself?
You're not guaranteed to get that card, though.
That's right.
How many times are you going to risk it to get that card?
Exactly.
Right. Risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
So it's a nuts thing. And KJ says, I was supposed to get money during the pandemic. Like he didn't know. That's right.
Stimulus.
I mean, I know I'm going like on a tangent here, but this is like a thought I've been holding on the whole weekend, right? Because on the weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, I'm not live, and I'm thinking about this stuff, and I'm looking at this stuff, and I'm like, because like we've talked about resellers, collectors, and buyers before in different lights, but usually in a darker tone because Magic's too expensive. Magic's too this. It's like no matter what, things are going to evolve, but the mentality behind it is interesting. And Magic's been around long enough that you got a lot of people with nostalgia, and you got a lot of people who get competitive. Now, fair warning out there, if you're watching this, if you have gambling addictions, you should probably stay away from Magic.
You should stay away from you should steer far, far away from Magic. My question is to you, though, is what do you think about the shift away from physical products as far as video games go? And Magic's getting this also with Arena, but what do you think about that? Because now you can't have a copy of something to either hang on to or pass on or sell or whatever.
I think it's BS. So, what is it? I can't remember which company said it, but a company came out, and I remember seeing the quote on it. We're talking about video games, saying players, customers do not own the video game, even if they own the physical product.
Right.
And I think that's a vague term, if you ask me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I own the physical product, I obviously own the copy of the game.
Yep.
Right. And but like somewhere in the realms, and I don't know everybody out there, maybe there's people who are modifying the game, trying to change the game, whatever.
Right.
But they're saying you don't own the physical product. Like obviously you don't own the IP if you buy the game. If you buy a copy of Mortal Kombat Tibalt, you don't own the franchise, you own that copy of the game. So I think the step away from losing the physical product is sad. Like I said, I really think it's sad because I love having copies of the game. I'm pointing at games you can't even see because of my tortoise name. I love owning physical copies of the game. I love being non-internet reliant when it comes to video games. And I love having the physical cartridge or whatever. Oh yeah, look, he's back. Whoop, whoop.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Hey, sorry about that. I had to take a telephone call that I've been waiting on since last week. For those of you guys who don't know, without going into detail, some excrement had hit the fan last week in my life, and I've been waiting in a holding pattern on telephone calls and a whole bunch of other things. And I got a telephone call that I'd been expecting.
Nice.
Cool.
Let's just put it this way. Usually the government's not known to calling you back in an efficient time frame. But they did today, so.
Robert's Table says, you own the right to play the game, not the game itself. Agreed, it's BS. That's right. Oh, you've been missing a lot here. We talked about video games, Magic the Gathering, collectors, buyers, reselling mentality. Holy cow, KJ, where have you been all my life?
I've been left up on the jar collecting dust. Left in my jar on the shelf.
Right. So we were talking about. Sorry, had like a little hang now. So we were talking about like I've been referencing video games to Magic the Gathering, vice versa, and we started talking about like how the buyer side and collector side works with Magic the Gathering when it comes to reselling. Like, someone will sell a game at like Donkey Kong for $20, then like that sells well, and they notice it sells well. They wonder if they could push the price up a little, and they do. And someone pushes the price up, and it sells fast. Everybody else is like, oh, we can sell the game for that much, make a little more money, push the price up, right? And then they continue to do that, and that's the Magic's the same. Like with the cards, people buy this card, they realize it sells really well for a certain price. Then people raise the price, same story. Long story short, the market's formed, right? People know how to fix the market. But then we started talking about the pandemic and how it crazed the reselling phase, hit the market. Everybody exploded on Facebook, whatnot, Twitch, YouTube, selling product on these platforms.
One of the things, though, I think has been an issue, and I don't want to go down a dark path or whatever, but I think there's also kind of an inflation that can be created by Wizards of the Coast printing so many cards, or at least that's how it felt in the early days of me selling. And by early days, I mean 30 years ago, when I was selling cards. But then they started printing multiple sets in a year and stuff like that. And then suddenly they started to go down in value. I think there's a market. The market will stabilize itself at some point. The problem comes in, though, when you have the company itself flooding the market with more things. So, like I said, your perspective is going to rely where you are in that spectrum of whether you're a buyer, whether you're a collector, whether you're, a reseller, or what you're looking to do with the cards too.
Oh yeah. Look, there's a lot that goes into it, and like you said, there's a lot that goes into the market. But let's kind of flip the tables a little and think about how awkward our community is as a Magic the Gathering community, right? Our community, not just us who hang out here on the Tortoise Show or each other's channels, abroad. We got people abroad from one side of the country to the other country, to all around the world. Magic comes out with a product. People be like, it's too much, it's too expensive, whatever. People come out with more product, and like, they're coming out with too much product, we can't keep up the flow. People are complaining. They're like, there's all this product coming out, Wizards needs to make a change, they need to slow down. Whatever. Final Fantasy hits the market, sold out.
Right.
Yep.
There is a big concern in the community. I see both sides of the story. Like people are always complaining that they're overprinting, but then I also see the community complaining that they're underprinting. Now, which is it? Are they overprinting or are they underprinting?
Hmm?
Are they trying to keep happy an entire world worth of game players, or are they trying to keep happy their pocketbook by underprinting at the same time? Now, see, there's two sides to that coin that you're seeing people do. Like they're saying that the Marvel stuff is being underprinted. The Final Fantasy stuff is going to be underprinted, and they're having problems getting certain sets that the secret layers have been releasing. They're having so like seems to me it's like the resellers are complaining more about overprinting than a lot of the collectors who want to collect a certain product.
All right. Well, so that's a good point. The resellers are complaining about there might be overprinting.
What's
Well,
Hillbilly got to say? I see Hillbilly's hand coming up. I'm not sure whether he's like raising his hand.
What the issue is about the overprinting is it's not overprinting. What it is too many sets that's being released so quickly.
what?
Because now you're getting sets like every 2 months.
Well,
And
see,
that's where the overprinting is coming from.
well, you're okay. Let's make sense of this. All right. You're talking about too many sets.
Correct.
Overprinting focuses on a single set.
Yeah, but
Not
right.
just not too many sets.
Yeah, but
One
that's
single
what,
set.
right, but that's what people is getting, and they're calling it overprinting, but it's not really overprinting. But also, they're dropping too many sets, and they are not printing enough to fulfill all these sets because they are putting too much out there, and they don't have the time to print the amount that they need. That's what it seems like to me.
But
Because
why
why
would people complain about overprinting a set and getting that confused with printing too many sets?
Yeah, well, that's people are getting that confused.
I think what it comes down to is the whole process being overwhelming
Mhm.
because there's too many different things to try to focus on at the same time.
Correct.
I think Rosewater was correct with him saying that you should concentrate on the sets that you want to buy, and I think the market will settle itself from there. But I think that like Hillbilly was saying that people are confusing the schedule that they're printing things with how fast things are coming out with sets being overprinted or whatever. It's not necessarily, you maybe just are thinking they're overprinting the sets you don't want and then underprinting the sets that you do want. Well, so again, it's a lot of a personal perspective, I think, is where you are too.
Yeah,
right.
Thinking about personal perspective, I can see what's happening, right?
Mhm.
Wizard of the Coast prints, let's say, let's just make an imaginary number. They print 24 sets a year. Sets being including secret layers as a set, right? Whatever. We'll just make that fit into the category. 24 sets a year.
Okay.
Right? Not every product's going to be for you, right? This product's for him, this product's for her, this product's for them, whatever. Then they print a product that feels like it's actually for everybody. Dragons of Tarkir or Tarkir Dragonstorm. They have this demand that meets the average basis of everybody's going to buy. People who do buy because they reach people from different worlds, different realms, and different lives of Magic the Gathering, and they're like they got this calculated pretty well. But Tarkir Dragonstorm, they weren't ready for it technically, but everybody loved it for the 5 seconds it's been out. Everybody loved it. So it feels underprinted, and they have to print a demand in the time frame that they printing the product. So I think the it's a numbers game that we sure don't understand fully 100%. that they're trying to print with the load with the 24 sets a year. Now, secret layers can be excluded because some of them are print to demand. They sell out. Well, they don't sell out until a time frame hits, and they make that much product. And sometimes secret layers are print to demand. There's 24 secret layers. Buy out 24, they're gone. You know, but like the truth is it's become a massive game, and they're trying to hit every single demographic with these different sets, different products, and some of them accidentally or on purpose hit everybody the right way. Let's see, Kevin. Hi,
What's up, Kevin?
So unfortunately, I don't think that collectors and players are taking into account the longevity of MTG as a hobby based on player lifespan. That's right. It's a huge factor. You got nostalgia for days for people who've been playing for over 20, 30 years.
Yep.
You know, it's the first card game to ever be printed, and it's lasted the longest.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how many times we've heard about the death of Magic and how this thing is going to kill it. This new set, it's going to ruin everything. This card's going to ruin everything.
Well, you have naysayers in every direction that you go. There's always going to be somebody that this is going to kill this is going to kill that. You can't listen to the naysayers all the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, there's always going to be a naysayer. You can give a naysayer a delicious, nicely, perfectly cooked, baked piece of chocolate cake. They're going to have a problem with it because maybe they just want a discount.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a naysayer. Then you always have people who appreciate the cake for what it is. They're like, oh, it's a cake. It's delicious. I loved it. There's people who will overpay for that piece of cake. They're like, it's a $10 cake. I'm willing to spend $20 on how delicious it is. And naysayer's like, it's not that good. I'd rather have a discount. It's all a mentality thing that breaks up. Well, that's how the market is for video game collectors, Magic the Gathering collectors. Like, look, you can't sell a car. Let's just use a car. You can't sell a car to a poor man and a rich man for the same price.
Right.
Because the poor man can pay so much for a car, and the rich man can pay a lot more for the car. There's an old acronym. Jeez, look at me spoil my words. There's an old metaphor about selling a rock, right? Some people are willing to pay more money for a rock for what they want it for than other people, right? Some people, a rock's useless, but other people, like say your landscaper, that rock's worth a couple bucks. You'd be willing to pay a couple bucks for the rock to use as a landscape. It's all about perspective.
There's another perspective also regarding a lot of people who are in the collector's market, especially those who are in the collector's market for a profit or value, is that the nice thing about my being able to have something in my collection is something that you're not going to have. And I want to make sure that it doesn't matter if they print 5 items or 2 items, I'm going to say they've overprinted it if you have the option of having something that I have in my library, in your library of collectibles. While I want to collect things that you can't get your hands on. A lot of people are that way. A lot of people are also that way about their Magic the Gathering decks. They don't like it when other people are using the same command, like have the same commander in their deck. Well, I'm using that commander. Well, I built this deck. So did I, but I built this deck and I have that commander. I've heard this argument recently within this community. Like when people get mad that people use a deck that has the same commander and they get salty about it. So when you're looking at, there's another thing is the rarity on the market, that people want the rarity, and they get mad when that rarity is not as rare, even though it's a brand new item on this on the market for certain sets.
Oh yeah. Well, it's kind of funny when you bring that up. Not some rare items are not as rare. It's like when it comes to movies, DVDs, and stuff like that, or collectibles. Like if they sell something as a collectible, like on TV and something, like this is a collectible coin. There's
the NASCAR plates. Good example, NASCAR plates.
NASCAR plates, Elvis face plates. They're not as collectible as they say they are. The word collectible just makes it seem more collectible, but they print them to demand.
Mm.
You know, they make them to demand. They sell lots. And I learned this in the reselling community too. Like if someone says collectible, like the collectible edition, it's usually not the collectible version
because they've overprinted it already.
Is your mic hitting something, Tortoise?
Yeah, it is.
I think that there's a lot of people who misunderstand the concept of what a collectible is. First of all, there's a difference between collectibles and antiquities. There's a difference between limited and rare item collectibles than there are just standard collectibles. Anything can be a collectible. Pretty much, if you put your head to it, you can collect pizzas if you wanted to. There, you know, Hillbilly would obviously have them eaten by the time they made it to his collection. But you know, what is your definition of a collectible? And there, right there. All collectible communities are having this argument right now. It doesn't matter if it's Magic the Gathering, comic books, or whatever. There are people who believe that collectibles should only be items of rarity. There are people who go, well, you know what? A collectible is a thing that I feel prized enough to put into my collection of items.
Right. Oh, you're right.
So
right.
Where do you draw the line at collectible?
I brought this up a while back ago, and someone like a certain Bob of the world, I brought it up. You can collect anything, and he's like, but most people like collect things valuable. So not all the time, and like, forgive me for being wrong.
Well, right now, you know what I find collectible?
What?
This right here.
It's collectible. Very prized, and we're going to be giving away.
They're limited editions, so they're definitely collectibles.
Yep.
But
like I said, it all depends on where your definition of collectible lies. When you get down to it, and why you're collecting. Because for every person in the collectibles market, whether it be baseball cards, Magic the Gathering cards, comic books, awkward shaped pieces of dust found under a microscope, whatever you're collecting in your weird obsessions, you are the person who defines where the term collectible goes. So when you're talking overprinting or underprinting, the people who are complaining about underprinting are people who want to have it in their collection because it is a cool item. The people who are talking about overprinting are either talking about an investment or they're talking about having a rarity. And those are two different terms placed by different people with different points of view.
What the heck is that?
This is a janky Slurpee mug. Like there's a straw.
Oh my gosh!
You put a Slurpee in it. Right? I
love it.
Thank you. I got it because it was collectible. I love Slurpees, and I can't get Slurpees where I live. But this is like a couple bucks Slurpee cup, and I collected it. It's probably not worth much, but it's a collectible in my collection that I love. In fact,
see, now I've seen it, and now I want one, and now I'm mad because I can't get one.
Now I got something jankier. It's probably not worth much, but I collected it because I was able to get my hands on it, and I thought it'd be fun. If you remember, my IHOP Magic the Gathering minion, right?
Yeah,
probably not worth much. It's in my collection.
Nice,
but I'm pretty sure if I sold it on eBay for like $15, someone out there would be crazy enough to buy it
for sure.
That's a weird memory for people to have. IHOP had Magic the Gathering. Lulu, hello, hi, hello. But yeah. So no one's going crazy over the definition of collectability. I think the truth behind a lot of it, and people are trying to disguise it behind collectability, is two things: greed and regret. Right? Good afternoon. Just seen you was online. Hey, KBG, thank you for joining. So I think two people deal with greed and regret. One, they want the product, They like certain people. This is not everybody. They want the product, so they buy a lot of product, right? They buy a lot of product. They buy packs. Like, oh man, I know this guy spent $600 on booster boxes just to pull a freaking Liliana, not of the Val, the original version of the first printing of Liliana, not from Laurelwind, but when she was reprinted in a core set. Spent $600 on booster boxes just to pull one, right? When this person I'm talking about could have literally bought one for $12 from the store.
But they missed out on the excitement of that pull, that crack in the pack, that little whiff of cardboard, freshly printed cardboard.
Right. But then this person I'm talking about went into the second thing I'm about to bring up. Regret. They brought too much product. They can't sell half their stuff to make some of their money back. You know? And that's why I think people have the issue with this. Because, like, when you're a financially stable adult and you have that adult money, what you should buy should attain you some of your money back, right? Yep. And I think that's what people think. Well, but, you know, Wizard of the Coast does not promise that at all.
No.
You know?
If the person was smart, what they would have done is always, this is the way my mama raised me. She raised me by herself. God bless her soul. But anyway, she raised me to put my priorities before my enjoyment. Magic is just an enjoyment. Get my bills paid, pay everything that has to be paid. Then what's left is for me to enjoy.
Right. Right. Kevin Haynes is a professor interviewed Richard Garfield. I watched that interview myself. It was a good one. He stated that he wanted some collectability, but no basic main set cards should be over $20 each. Right. But when there's not enough cards for everybody to buy that card for $20 or less, those cards go up. I get that. There's a lot of factors that go into this stuff. But mainly, when I was talking about the regret, it's like some people get into this realm where they buy too much and regret it, or like I remember I wouldn't overspend on Magic when I was younger, but I would spend so much I didn't have money for extra things, right? I wouldn't be able to go out to eat. I wouldn't be able to afford extra special things. I put so much money into Magic that I spent all my secondarily my, what do you call extra money? Excess money?
Surplus.
Surplus.
Yes.
Yeah. After all my bills and stuff were done, paid for and stuff, I'd spend my surplus on Magic the Gathering.
Your mad money.
Mad money. That's right. And, you know, then I'd find myself in a place of regret sometimes, like, oh, I'd rather go to McDonald's now than have this janky card I pulled out of a pack, you know?
Well, yeah, sometimes there is regret like that.
You know? But like
everybody has a little form of buyer's remorse in one sense or another.
But what I'm getting at is I think people are taking what I'm talking about, the greed and regret, and hiding behind Wizards of the Coast is doing all this bad stuff, right? The truth is
taking responsibility for it, sure.
Right. Wizards of the Coast is not responsible for anybody's purchasing habits. Nope. And most likely no store is going to say, no, you can't buy this. You can't afford it. I mean, if you got the money, they're like, oh, we'll take the money, right?
Exactly.
No store out there is going to decline your money, but they can't, like, not like my store owner, like I know the store owner around me does not know me well enough that if I buy a booster box of cards, they're not going to say, no, you can't afford this. You know, they're going to sell me that box of cards. It's my fault for putting myself in that position if I do that. You know,
I think that gets into a slippery slope though, where the company may establish predatory business practices though. And I'm not accusing anybody of it. I'm just saying that is a possibility for them to structure certain pay plans, certain things, certain products in such a way that it is predatory based on who their market is.
Right. Well, look, I understand where your comment is coming from, but let's look at it from a different angle, right? Let's take that predatory practice idea and look at it from a different angle. How do you advertise to reach everybody possible? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know, I'm not neglecting what you're saying or bouncing off. I'm like, here's one aspect, but if you're supposed to do advertisement to reach everybody possible, right? That makes a blurred line between the two.
Mm-hmm.
It does, especially with a product that the newer it is, it has to be advertised. You're dealing with, from there, you're dealing with a corporation that is, putting out specific funds globally on a global scale to make sure that this product is known.
Right.
They're on top of advertisement, they're setting up events. Magic the Gathering is constantly having these events all the time, whether there be small events that are co-advertised by your local LGSs to large gaming events that you go to a convention center to find out what's going on, like MagicCon and all these other events. These events are going on all year long in the fashion that makes you think, okay, well, I'm going to go and see what they're doing. I'm going to play a game. I'm probably going to get some swag and all this other stuff. But really, this is part of their advertising venture. It's really expensive. And the more people now from there, you're building down, you're going, oh, well, they're being predatory. They're asking for all this stuff. But in the long run, when a major corporation like Hasbro is putting money out there to advertise, they're also hiring people on top of this standard people that they've already hired for production and all and whatnot. So now you have the advertising costs of getting these tournaments set up, which the tournaments are a excuse to advertise new product. It's an advertising scheme. So you have all these tournaments and all these conventions and all these get-togethers, these meetups, and these things are put together by Magic where you'd think that they're fan events. They're made for the fans, but in reality, they're made to subliminally promote to the fans in a very blatant way. MagicCon. Do you think MagicCon is a convention for the fans? No, it's not. It is a way to make a lot of money real quick towards the pushing of the next product.
Yep. And it's always like that. It's always going to be like that.
And when people complain about predatory nature of a major corporation, they obviously don't know how it works. And that's a sad feature. And we got to realize that we are the consumer, and we don't understand how we don't always understand how the corporate marketing scheme works, especially when it comes down to making you feel that FOMO.
Right. Well, right. Well, that's a lot to digest. But you're right. There's a lot of people who do not understand. That's why they blame the regret and greed on what was it? What wizards? They're too good at their job. Whatever. But still, we need to get to a point in our life where we hit this bumper.
Hit that subscribe button. Become a part of the creep.
Too much to take. Show is lit. MTG 3, are you game? Rise, creep, rise, building a following as we gain. Spitting fire like a dragon, no one can bring us down. MTG 3 in the house, we own this town. Ripping through the beats with a fury.
All right. It is that time of the day where we got to start calling it a good day. Ooh, holy cow, that hour flew by quick. Ooh, I think we had a really solid conversation. That went well.
Yep.
Hopefully. And, there's more, but it was a topic that was on my mind, how it started and went on, and it grew. But we need to get to the shill section, the thrill. And we're going to start the shill section off with the crazy, insane, the mad, the titan we know as Tibalts Apprentice.
Well, thank you. And I've just got one closing statement, which is about the whole show, which is focus on the fun. Focus on the one thing, wherever you are on that spectrum, focus on what makes you happy and fun. And if buying cards makes you happy, you don't have to get all the packs. You can just come see me and get the cards that you want. Go to Dark Ritual on TCG Player. If you want to follow me on socials, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. You can get more daily stuff on Instagram that way. And you can occasionally, when I'm lucky enough, hanging out here with you guys. So I appreciate that. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Check it out. Check out his store. All right. And that's in the description box below, too. All right. We got kjcowboydan.
Hey, howdy, hey, boys and girls. kjcowboydan here. I hope you're being good heads out there in Chatland today. So we're going to be playing a little bit of Minecraft. It's Minecraft Monday. Jesse Hellwheeler, myself, Miyu Matsume, possibly Kaz. Hello, it's Kaz, and a few other of our friends in the Minecraft world will be streaming Minecraft Monday. Make sure you check us out on our respective channels. For those people who want to support me and my efforts, please feel free to watch on both YouTube and Twitch, as I'll be streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. But if you can, watch on my Twitch page, so that way I can take advantage of that monetization. It would be greatly appreciated, as I'm trying to continue my growth over there on Twitch. Also, we just got in some concept art for a little project that Hillbilly and I are doing, known as KJHB Radio, bringing the talk. Two country boys talking about what you want to talk about. Maybe, just maybe, if you watch the Discord pages, we'll be posting that concept art today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I've seen it. It looks cool. It looks really cool. I didn't even think about saving it to the computer. We got involved in that conversation. All right. Let's go to Hellbilly.
hey, everybody. Yeah, just like KJ was talking, coming soon. We're doing a show together. But anyway, enough. But also this afternoon, I will be doing some more arena gameplay at 2:00 today. And that's all I got planned for today. But make sure you keep your eye out for the thing that not Tortoise, the thing that KJ was just talking about.
KJHB Radio.
Yep, keep an eye out for that.
KJHB Radio. Don't forget I exist. I like you guys here chilling out with me. When they do their show, make sure you come join me in the morning, them in the afternoon. Don't forget me.
Never.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna do something tonight, but I don't know exactly what it is right now.
Okay.
But we're gonna do something tonight. Chill out, maybe play a video game. I have no clue. I got responsibilities to do beforehand. So
responsibilities.
I know. Yeah, they exist. They do exist. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you, everybody here on the show, from Hellbilly, KJ, Tibalts. Everybody in chat, you rock your world. Thank you, my memberships, for being awesome. Thank you, my subscribers, for supporting the channel too. And everybody who liked this video, you guys rock. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you're watching this after it's live, let us know in the comments your thoughts about everything. I'll respond to you. But with that, I want to remind you that you're all loved, that someone's thinking about you. And if you can, brighten someone's day, because he might be the change they need. Let's get to that sweet, sweet outro.
Start the morning with coffee in your cup. Time to hang out with friends and chat it up. Bring a smile and good luck. Hit that like button and let's chat it up. Good times start with us, you and me. Good